Good day. Let's have a look at some more aspects of linear equations today, and we're going to have a look at ones that contain numeric denominators. Um, and I think I'm going to divide this episode into a number of parts because there's so many things that can be thrown at you in this section that we need to look at all eventualities so that you are prepared for whatever comes up in an assessment or a quiz. So if we look at this one, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 terms separated by equal signs, plus signs, minus signs. We've got a fraction, another fraction, then we've got a term without a denominator, and here we've got a mixed number. So what we need to do first, if there are any denominators involved, then we need to make things easier, we need to write every single term as having a denominator. So that's what we're going to do in the first step. So 9x over 4 stays exactly as it is. The same with 1/8. And now if we think about 3x, 3x actually means 3x over 1. Remember, anything that doesn't have a denominator, you can write it with a denominator by making that denominator 1. And then if we look at our mixed number is made up of a whole number and a fraction. And all of these terms we need to have with a numerator, denominator, numerator, denominator. So we need to convert that mixed number into an improper fraction. So 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13, and we retain the denominator. So now what I've written down here is exactly the same as that, except I've written it in the form that will be much more useful to me. So we need to look at our denominators now, and if we look, we've just got two types of denominators, a 4 and an 8. There's another 4. So I think it's very obvious that our LCM, or rather we would call it our lowest common denominator, is equal to 8. Because 8 can go into itself and 4 can also divide into 8 exactly. So in this first example, I'm going to show you what the thinking process is by actually putting in the thought process in red pen. So what we have to do is to eliminate the denominators, because denominators are uncomfortable in an equation. We need to multiply through by the LCD, which means that we will then eliminate having any denominators at all. So what we're actually doing is we're saying the first term multiplied by the LCD. The second term also multiplied by the LCD. So you're really not going to do this once you get into the swing of things, because we can do this in our heads. The only reason I'm doing this now is to just show you the thought process. I prefer to explain in more detail than too little detail, so that you always understand exactly why you're doing something. So having set that up, this denominator 4 can divide. These two have a common factor of 4, so I'm going to say 4 goes into itself once, 4 goes into 8 twice. 8 divides into 8. Nothing can divide there. 4 goes into itself once, 4 goes into 8 twice. So now if you look in the denominators, all of the denominators are now 1, and remember, when a denominator is 1, you don't need to write it down anymore. So the numerator I've left with 9x times 2 minus, those cancel completely, so I'm just left with minus 1. Here I've got 3x times 8. And then here I've got 13 times 2. Right? As soon as we get to this situation where we have no brackets, and remember in our previous episodes we were looking at examples where we had brackets, then we eliminated the brackets. Here we've got denominators, they're also uncomfortable. Eliminate the denominators. And once we've got to this form, then we're carrying on with the basics of linear equations, where we get the x's onto the one side and the constants onto the other side. So 18x I'm not moving. The 24x I am going to move, so it's going to become minus 24x. This 26 is in the correct position, and this one's having to come across, so it's going to change from minus 1 to plus 1. Simplifying this down, 18 minus 24 is negative 6x, is 27. And then remember that we don't want to solve for negative 6x, we want to solve for x. So whatever that coefficient is, we divide by exactly that thing. So this is going to come out to be x. And now I've got a positive divided by a negative is a negative. And 6 goes into 24 because remember that this fraction line means division. So 6 divides into 26 4 times, which takes me up to 24. And then I've got 3 left over, so 3 over 6. If you stop there, you're probably going to lose half a mark because you have given the correct answer, but it's not in its simplest form. So x is equal to negative 4. 3 and 6 both belong to the same times table, so I'm going to divide by 3. 3 goes into itself once, and 3 goes into 6 twice. So my actual answer for x is negative 4.5.